and welcome to Spotlight in Bensenville. I'm Frank D. Simone, Village President, and I will be your host for this episode. Today we'll be discussing the Water Service Line Replacement Program with Joe Karachi, Director of Public Works, and Vince Smith, Operations Superintendent. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
What is the State of Illinois' Lead Service Line Replacement and Notification Act, and how does it affect us here in Bensenville?
Well, a lot of us have really heard a lot about Flint, Michigan over the last decade. So that really has been kind of a situation that has gotten the entire nation talking about lead service and lead in our water lines. The state of Illinois, the General Assembly, actually came out and said that there is no level of exposure of lead that is healthy to our residents. So they came out with this act. It's called the Lead Service Line Notification Act. Part of this act is going to be identifying lead service lines in the system and then removing them. So the General Assembly, again, they think we have somewhere near 680,000 lead service lines in Illinois that we need to identify and remove. So how does that affect Bensenville? We have just over 4,800 service lines connected to our system. We have a pretty good idea of what the materials are, but we need to, because of this act, verify every single one of them. So we need to get into people's homes, we need to get into businesses, we need to get into restaurants and all that to verify the material that is connected to our system. So that's how that's going to affect us. And then once we identify that, we'll have to come up with a plan on how to replace them.
Are there key regulatory deadlines?
Yeah, there are. Per the state, there are a number of deadlines that we need to meet. The first one is that on April of 2023, we have to have an initial lead inventory sent into the IEPA. And then April 2024, we have to have a finalized inventory submitted to the EPA along with a lead service line replacement plan. And then in April 2027, we have to finalize that plan with the EPA and submit an initial plan of lead service replacement. And then by April of 2044, all lead service lines must be eliminated from the system. Although these are state deadlines, we want to drastically expedite that process.
So what does the material inventory consist of?
A list of lead or no lead on public and private water services. A public water service is from the water main to the B box, and then a private service is from the B box into the house at the meter or at the first shutoff or within 18 inches of the structure.
So what have we been doing so far to complete the material inventory?
So far, basically on the public side, we've identified about 40% of our water mains and have verified that they do not have lead or lead services connected to them. We did that from historical data, from as-built drawings, from construction projects, things of that nature. Our next step is really going to be to verify those in the field. We're going to be getting out there with our hydro excavation machines. We're going to be excavating around the B boxes and trying to figure out what the material is going towards the main, the public side, and then also going towards the home on the private side. So that's where we're at on the public side. But on the private side, about 4 months ago, we put out an email blast or a social media blast on trying to get people to call in for appointments. We got about 10% of our residents have called in for appointments. We've been in their homes. We've done investigations and inspections of their home, taken pictures and recorded their inventory in our system. So our next step is going to be trying to get that other 90%. So how do we do that? Again, we go through a full media blast on getting people to call in for appointments. Okay, that's one way to do it. Some people, we realize though, don't really feel comfortable letting people in their homes, and I understand that in this day and age. So we've put together a survey, kind of a do-it-yourself at-home survey that you can send into the village, and if everything looks great, we can record that and you'll be done. So again, you can call water billing. I think the phone number is 630-594-1011, or do this self-reporting survey.
So the scheduling option, that you guys just mentioned, seems pretty self-explanatory. Can you describe how the self-reporting survey will work?
Yeah, so again, this survey is going to be web-based. So we put together the survey. I've done it, tested it, it works very well. I find that it actually does work better on a phone. So we'll probably create a QR code that'll take you directly to the survey. It's very simple. It probably takes 5 to 10 minutes max. We're going to ask you for some information on the address, contact information in case there's any follow-up questions we have to have. And then really we're going to have you go down to your basement, find out where that water service comes into your home, take a picture of it, upload that picture to the survey, and then tell us what that material is made of. You know, is it going to be copper? Is it going to be lead? Is it galvanized? Is it something else that you don't know? So that's really what it is. You send that picture in on the survey, get it to us, it gets into our inventory the next day, and you're done.
Can you explain how to detect the difference between the copper, the galvanized, and the lead?
Yeah, so we brought some examples with us of what these materials are and what a homeowner might experience when looking at their service coming into their house. And this is a lead service. It is got a silver grayish color and material type. The difference between the lead and the galvanized, which is also a silver or gray color, is that when you put a magnet, when you put a magnet up against the lead, it will not receive the magnet. There's no magnetic field connection there. But then when you put the magnet up against a galvanized pipe, it'll receive the magnet itself. And then the third material type that a homeowner would experience when looking at their service is the copper service. And it's copper in color. It's a very distinct difference between the galvanized and the lead service.
One of the things you'll find too in some of our copper services in the homes, you may see that they've weathered a little bit. They may not look copper anymore. They may have a little film on them. One way you can check that is to scratch it off with a key or something like that, and you'll definitely see that copper color to it.
So how are residents being notified of the program, and when do you hope to have the inventory completed by?
Yeah, so this is kind of the first step in getting the major rollout of the self-survey out, is the spotlight on Bensenville. We also plan to go social media blasts, get it up on our electric message boards in town, water bill inserts, things of that nature. Basically anything we can do to get the word out, we're going to try to do. We're looking to have this inventory done by January 31st of 2023. Okay. So we'd like to get 100% of our responses by then. Again, our next segment, we're going to talk a little bit about the funding, and that's one of the reasons why we want to get this expedited as quickly as we can.
So how can residents learn more about the water service line replacement program?
You can go to the village website. So under the Public Works section and Utilities, there's a whole dedicated section for the lead service line replacement program. The survey will be there, and you can also call Public Works if you just have some questions at 630-350-3435.
I know we got a second half of this. We got some funding to talk about. You guys have a few more minutes?
Absolutely.
We'll be right back after this short commercial break.
Your community water system is responsible for supplying safe drinking water. After the water is treated, it's delivered to you through a network of pipes called the Water Distribution System. This piping system supplies your home with clean water. A property's water service line connects to the village's water distribution. The water service can contain many different parts and materials. Maintaining a water service is a shared responsibility. The village maintains the service from the water main to the B-box. The homeowner maintains the service line from the B-box to the house. New Illinois and federal regulations require communities to identify the materials of every water service line. As a property owner, you can assist by identifying your water service line material as it enters your home and reporting the material back to your community. There are 2 easy tests you could do at home if you believe you have either galvanized steel or a lead water service line. First is a scratch test. Taking a quarter or a screwdriver, scratch a portion of the pipe. If the scraped area remains a dull gray color, the pipe is made of galvanized steel. If the scraped area is a shiny silver and flakes off, your pipe is made of lead. Second test is the magnet test. A magnet will not stick to a PVC, copper, or lead pipe. However, galvanized steel is slightly magnetic. If a magnet does stick to the pipe, it is galvanized steel. Once you identify your water service line material as it enters your home, you should contact your community water service system to learn about the next steps and resources that may be available to you.
Hi there. I want to take you on a journey through a community powered by C-Click Fix. Here, internal operations are streamlined with more intuitive, secure workflows and communications. Here, let me show you how it all works. C-Click Fix organizes, tracks, and manages service requests from everyday citizens through a single application. When they see a problem, a few clicks is all it takes to send off a service request. From there, the right people get the request and get to work. All communication and task management is seamlessly coordinated through the app. Citizens can see the work being done and even receive a follow-up message when the work is completed. It's a team effort all around, and you have the data you need to make better decisions. Cities large and small use SeeClickFix to accomplish more for their citizens with the staff, time, and budget they've already got. Get started today.
Hello and welcome back to Spotlight in Bensenville. I'm Frank DeSimone, Village President and your host for this episode. Today we are discussing the Water Service Line Replacement Program with Joe Caracci, Director of Public Works, and Vince Smith, Operations Superintendent. Welcome back, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So in our first segment, we discussed how the material inventory was being collected. So what is the next step after that collection?
Well, after we complete the inventory, we'll have to have an understanding of what needs to be done and replaced. So each property will be identified in one of 4 categories. There's going to be lead public, lead private, lead public / other private, other public / lead private, other public, and other private. The next step is to put together a replacement plan. This plan will identify the locations of the lead in the system, as well as the identified specific projects that will eliminate the lead. Projects will range from full water main replacement and service line replacement projects. This will coincide with our planned CIP water main projects. Then we'll also have a targeted private service line replacement project. These projects will focus on geographical areas and will include only the private service replacement itself. And then we'll also have a target public service line replacement project. These projects will focus on geographical areas and will include only the public service replacement side of it. And then we'll have targeted full service line replacement. And in these geographical locations, this will replace the public and private side of the service.
Sounds very expensive. Is the village going to pay for the program, or is there currently any available funding at the federal and state level?
Yeah, fortunately, the new infrastructure plan did come out with about $15 billion worth of funds for the whole country for lead service line replacement projects. In Illinois, there's about $550 million over the next 5 years that's dedicated strictly to lead service line replacements. The Illinois EPA is going to use their state loan revolving program, their water supply program, to kind of distribute those funds to different municipalities who are ready for them. One of the things that they're going to do while they can is principal forgiveness. So basically, we're going to get a loan, but we don't have to pay back the loan. So free money, if you will. But there's only so much of that, and there's only so much to go around, and it's only going to be available for so long. Mm-hmm. So again, that's kind of one of the reasons why we want to get this inventory in the system as soon as possible, get our plan approved as soon as possible, and try to capitalize on all that free money.
First bite of the apple.
Yep, absolutely.
So once the free funding dries up, what are the other funding options?
Unfortunately, there's not a lot of good options that are out there. Now, I'm hoping that the federal government will see that there's more funds that are necessary to do that, and they'll come up with additional funds, but we need to start preparing, and a lot of municipalities are preparing for that not to happen. So how do you deal with that? Unfortunately, that usually falls on the backs of the property owners and the users. So, you know, again, many communities are already looking at their water rates. They're doing water rate studies. They're trying to figure out how many service lines they have and how much money they may have to put into that. And they're starting to increase those rates now to plan for that future. As Vince mentioned, we do have a lot of time once we identify our plan. I think we have 17 years to go ahead and get them all replaced. But a lot of communities can't afford that and are going to be asking for extensions and things like that. But they're really looking at user rates increases. So I don't think we're there yet. We're going to start looking into those rates in the next year. I don't see any immediate increases at this point due to this. Again, we're going to try our best to get as much money as we can, as soon as we can, to make it as free as possible for our residents. Again, we expect 400 to 500 lead service lines in our system. So can I get those done in a couple of years? Aggressively, yes. And that's what our plan is going to be. So that's why it's really important for us to get to this inventory as quickly as possible.
I mean, obviously timing is very critical at this point. in order to secure the free funding. So what happens if residents do not self-report or make appointments by the January 31st, 2023 deadline?
Yeah, unfortunately, not a great answer for that one, but we really need to get that done. If we get 100% support in this and we get that into the inventory, that's great. However, if there are some stragglers out there, I'm not going to have much of a choice other than shutting your water down until I get that inventory done.
So kind of help us help you.
Help us help you. I'm like I said, I'm confident that we are Bensenville strong here. So I think everyone's going to realize what we need to do in order to help ourselves in the future and keep our costs down. So yeah, we're really hoping that we get a lot of participation.
I like the fact that we could do it in-house. I mean, like you say, you never know the situations, but we don't have to have somebody in the house. Take the pictures, walk me through it, send them my way. Most of us have those kind of capabilities with smartphones and whatnot to do that. So I like that.
Yep.
But we're also here to help, like you said. That's why we call ourselves Bensenville Strong. So
right. It's a very simple process. And
right.
Again, I think if everybody can take 5-10 minutes out of their time and do this, we'll get to that goal. I'm confident we will.
So how can residents learn more about the water service line replacement program?
Again, our village website is probably the best place to go, www.bensenville.il.us. If you go to the department section in Public Works, you'll see some information there on the lead service line replacement. Or feel free to give Public Works a call at 630-350-3435.
Gentlemen, thank you for spending the morning with me. Thank you for all that information. See you guys soon.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much for joining us this week, and be sure to tune in next week for Spotlight on Bensenville.